Alright guys, both in the Championship and League One, the playoff semi-final first legs did not disappoint. In today's video, we're going to be dissecting all of the action which took place over the weekend and then predicting who we see making it to Wembley in both League One and the Championship. As always, I want to hear from you guys in the comments down below. How do you see these second legs going on the back of how the first legs turned out? If you support one of these sides, are you more or less confident after that first game? But without any further ado, let's jump in. We'll start out with League One again, then head into the Championship. Starting out in League One, and that first leg couldn't have gone any worse for Sheffield Wednesday. The away fans who made the trip were absolutely seething at full time, and rightfully so. And those players by the end of this one just looked absolutely checked out. And the atmosphere at Hillsborough for this second leg, I feel like will be really quite an awkward one, with Peterborough already having one foot firmly in the final. And I mean, that first leg, like we said, couldn't have gone any worse for Sheffield Wednesday. I really had Wednesday over the course of this overall tie as the favourites before a ball had been kicked, because while they had derailed their season in the final few months with losing out on automatic promotion, having had it firmly in their grasp, I still backed the quality in that Wednesday squad to regroup and go again. As you know, pound for pound, Wednesday I think are a much stronger outfit than this Peterborough squad are. But what Peterborough have is just attacking outlets from all over the pitch who can hurt you, and if you're not mentally on your game and prepared to go to those sorts of levels, a side like Peterborough can be absolutely destructive, and we saw that in the first leg. The first goal from a Wednesday perspective was absolutely criminal. I think that sort of set the tone, and from that point onwards, I think we saw in the posh players, they just knew that they had this Wednesday group like that. So Sheffield Wednesday are going to have to come on to Peterborough in this second leg so much that they're going to leave so many spaces and gaps behind their back line that I struggle to see a scenario in this second leg where Peterborough don't score at least one goal from a transition, as they were really ruthless in the first leg. So whether Wednesday do get a goal or two to make this a little bit more respectable, I think Peterborough firmly have that first foot in the final, and things could really get quite toxic in at Hillsborough. I'm not sure how the home crowd will react to how everything's gone down this season, because regardless of the high point tallying and finishing third, not being promoted in your second season in League One with the resources and everything that's gone into that side and building promotion has been a failure, and that will be putting it lightly. So score prediction for this second leg, I could see Wednesday winning it and maybe making it a bit more respectable, but nothing where Peterborough will be all too worried. I do see them getting a goal. Score prediction in that one, I'm going to go 2-1 Sheffield Wednesday, which would comfortably see Peterborough into the final at Wembley. After that, to Barnsley up against Bolton. Really intriguing first leg between these two. On reflection of the full 90 minutes, I think it was definitely Barnsley who had the better chances in that game and could have taken a lead to Oakwell had they been that little bit more clinical. But Bolton defended well for the whole, and obviously when they did fall behind, had that almost instant response to get back into the game, and that sort of thing will serve them well in playoff football. You know, where we saw Sheffield Wednesday capitulating after they conceded that first goal, Bolton really used that as that bit more motivation. Was Bolton who dominated the ball in that first leg, as we thought they might. I anticipate the same sort of thing to happen in the reverse fixture as well. But Barnsley are quite content off the ball, and when they do get up the pitch with that little bit more of a direct style, that served them really well, and it served them well on the away leg with those better chances in the end. So finally balanced one though, and I could still see this game going either way compared to the Sheffield Wednesday Peterborough game, where we've already got Peterborough pretty much having one foot firmly at Wembley. Between these two, it's a little bit more unpredictable. Now, as of recording, the bookies do have Barnsley as the overwhelming favourites for this second leg, with them having home advantage and shading the first leg with the chances they had. I still think it's going to be really tight. After 90 minutes, I think these two are going to go in level again at 1-1, but I think I just see Barnsley sneaking it in extra time. I'm going to go 2-1 Barnsley after extra time as my prediction for this one. But once again, two really good sides which could go either way, but I think I'm just shading Barnsley after how that first leg went. But now let's get into the proper stuff, into the Championship, and that's what we're all here for. Luton up against Sunderland is geared up to be an absolutely cracking second leg after how dramatic the first one was at the Stadium of Light. Now, as you know, I was narrowly backing Luton myself going into that first leg, and to be honest, with how that game started, it seemed as if I might have got my prediction spot on. We spoke about Sunderland, the lack of height in that makeshift back line, and Luton looking to take advantage of those situations. They scored from a set piece where we all thought they'd be a threat from a sort of second phase of play after the ball was bobbling around for a little bit, but the reaction from that point from Sunderland was absolutely flawless. And something we mentioned in the preview to that one is Sunderland have the creative outlets of those three players who play behind the striker to just change a game in an instant like that, and in playoff football that can absolutely make all the difference. I mean, I saw it firsthand, Amad Diallo, and the ridiculous goal he scored at Deepdale on the final day, and we got one right out of that catalogue with Alex Pritchard rolling the ball to him, and then just a ridiculous strike, which from a Luton point of view, there's literally nothing you can do about that sort of thing. So for however you sort of try and make the game bitty and tight after you take the lead away at a ground as intimidating as the Stadium of Light, when your opposition has that much quality in their ranks, there's really not much else you can do. What did then go against Luton though was the second half performance. Now, I'm not sure whether this was a case of them just gassing out a little bit. I certainly don't think it helped with Marvellous Nakamba and Peli Rodriguez both being booked in the first half. Seemed to maybe limit their impetus to be as aggressive maybe and on the front foot in the second half. And we just sort of saw Luton in that second half going into their shell a little bit more, which is a little bit sort of uncharacteristic of them, and Sunderland really bossing it. And I think, to be honest, Luton will be fairly happy just to go in one goal down into this second leg now, because Sunderland certainly had the chances to make it a lot worse than that. Whether they'll end up paying for that, we'll have to wait and see. In terms of how I see this second leg going, I think it's set up to be an absolute cracker. I do see both teams scoring once again, which is a problem for Luton, as they're going to need to get, in my opinion, at least 2 goals to take this to extra time. Sunderland on the road this season have been really good. They've been better away from home than they have been at home. On average, they've scored 1.5 goals in away matches this season, and for all the pressure I see Luton putting that Sunderland back line under, I think we will get more of that intensity at Kenilworth Road, with a lot more balls being thrown into the box, set piece scenarios being a real threat for them once again. Sunderland have those instances where they can hurt you with a quick 1-2 in transition, Clark one side, Diallo and Roberts linking up down another, where I struggle to see Sunderland not scoring in this game. So while I see Luton making a real meal out of it, and I could definitely see this one going to extra time and maybe even the full distance to penalties, Sunderland have got the firepower to hurt you like that. And with the way that first leg went, I think as a score prediction for this second leg, I'm going to say 1-1, which would be enough to send Sunderland through to Wembley. So, done a little bit of a flip of my opinion on this prediction really after how that first leg went. Luton still very much got it within them to turn this game around. We've seen over the course of the season how many times they've gone against adversity, and to be honest, the playoff first leg was the only game that they could afford to lose. You know, if they win their next 2 comfortably, they will be in the Premier League next season, but just feels like they've got a lot to do in that second leg with the attacking threats that Sunderland will have on the break, and I do see the away side getting a goal there. So I'm saying 1-1, which would then send Sunderland through to the final. And then to the Riverside for our second of our Championship playoff semi-final second legs for Middlesbrough up against Coventry, where Luton against Sunderland was sort of 2 heavyweight boxers slugging it out and going punch for punch. Middlesbrough against Coventry so far has been a little bit more like a chess match. That was certainly the case on the last day of the season between these two sides, and even felt like that in the first leg, that neither team wanted to give away all too much to the opposition, and so a goalless draw in that one maybe wasn't all too surprising. Even with all the firepower in both sides, was really quite a cagey game in at Coventry. Ultimately, it was Middlesbrough who only had 5 shots in that game, but did have the better chances. Coventry actually did well, I thought too. Ultimately nullify them. Ben Wilson popping up with some big saves and some good last-ditch blocks and things like that. And while Coventry did have more attempts, 11 in the end, it felt like quite a few of them were pop shots. Middlesbrough defended really well, and it set up quite interestingly for a second leg at the Riverside. Playoff football does tend to be quite cagey, and while we have got 2 quite exciting teams in terms of some of the goals they've scored scored so far this season. It does feel as if we may get another low scorer in at the Riverside. In terms of Coventry, I thought Gus Hamer was really good in the middle for them, but nothing was quite sticking for the front two in Gyökeres and Godden, who Middlesbrough I think did pretty well to stifle in the end, to cut off most of the supply to those players and making sure that, you know, Gyökeres wasn't floated into those areas where he wasn't being marked and being able to directly run at people all too much and things like that. So Middlesbrough dealt with those threats really well. And the reverse fixture at the Riverside is an interesting one now. Understandably so, the bookies do have Middlesbrough as the favourites coming into this tie. I think that Coventry will be happy to play the role as the underdogs. It's just a question of, can they get something on the break or a transition? Because, you know, I'm sure that Middlesbrough are going to dominate the ball again. They probably will have more of the clear-cut chances as well. But Coventry just need that one through ball from Hamer to Gyökeres to hit, and then who knows? You know, Coventry score the first goal in the second leg, I think they'll make life an absolute living misery for Middlesbrough to try and get back into this one. But Middlesbrough have been almost flawless at home this season. Under Michael Carrick, they've only lost one home game in the Championship, and that was to Burnley. So that really speaks to the general levels that Middlesbrough have been playing at in those home matches. I think we saw those threats that they had in the first leg as well. You know, Archer and Akpom having good chances each, had the ball in the back of the net, but that one was ruled offside. I'm definitely not discounting Coventry here, but all things considered, I think I, like the bookmakers, also have Middlesbrough as the favourites with this one, with home advantage playing into their favour. And for a score prediction, I'm going to go 2-0 Middlesbrough for that second leg. But the first goal in this one does seem absolutely pivotal, because like I said, I think that Coventry would make life a living hell for Middlesbrough if they went 1-0 up. But I'm going to go with my gut feeling, and that is that Middlesbrough do make it to the final. So 2-0, I'm saying between those. But guys, there we have it. Those are my predictions for both League One and the Championship. So going off my League One predictions, we'd have a Peterborough against Barnsley playoff final, and going off my Championship predictions, and what a cracker this would be, by the way, we'd have a Sunderland against Middlesbrough final. So I want to hear from you guys, how do you see these second legs going? Still very much everything to play for in most of those games, maybe not the Sheffield Wednesday one. But if you did go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like and do stick around and subscribe for some regular Championship content. And apart from that, I'll see you all in the next one.